Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will talk about the cell cycle and its phases. So, during the cell cycle, sequence of events occur, and due to these events, the genetic material which is present inside the nucleus of a cell gets replicated, and also the synthesis of other cellular contents occur like cytoplasm, organelles, etc. So why the organelles get synthesized or why the genome gets replicated? Because when the division will occur, every daughter cell will get the same number of cellular content. Now the question arises that why do the cell cycle is required? So cell cycle is required for the proper growth and the development of every organism. See, cell divides for many reasons. Cell divides to replace the older cells. Cell divides to replace the dead or damaged cells. When organism grows, it is not the cell that are getting larger. Organism grows because the cells are dividing to produce more and more cells. Now the generation time, which is the duration of cell cycle. So generation time is the time cell takes to complete its cycle. So that time or duration is known as the generation time. Now cell cycle is divided into two phases, interphase and mitotic phase or M phase. Now interphase. Interphase is also known as undividing state or preparatory phase. Why it is known as preparatory phase? Because in this phase cell prepare itself to enter into the mitotic phase. Okay, बिल्कुल वैसे ही जैसे एग्ज़ाम में बैठने से पहले स्टूडेंट्स खुद को प्रिपेयर करते हैं फॉर दैट एग्ज़ाम. ओके, 1 साल 2 साल 6 महीने जितने भी टाइम वो प्रिपेयर करते हैं, द सेम वे माइटोटिक फेज़ में एंटर करने से पहले सेल खुद को प्रिपेयर करता है इन द इंटरफेज. ओके, एंड व्हेन इट एंटर्स इनटू द एम फेज़ सेल डिवाइड होना शुरू करता है. अगर सेल डिवाइड होने में फेल हो जाता है, डिवाइड वो नहीं कर पाता है प्रॉपरली, देन सेल डाइज. नाउ द इंटरफेज is again divided into three phases, G1 phase, S phase and G2 phase. Now G1 phase is also known as gap 1 phase. So in G1 phase protein is synthesized. Protein means, you see, when the DNA gets replicated, a lots of enzymes are required for the DNA replication. For example, DNA polymerase, for example helicases. So these enzymes are the proteins. So उनकी synthesis G1 phase में होती है. Now for the synthesis of protein RNA is required. आपको याद होगा कि RNA से प्रोटीन बनता है जब ट्रांसलेशन होता है. तो now RNA की synthesis भी इसी वजह से G1 phase में होती है. And also the nucleotides which is required, which is present in the DNA, okay, that too synthesized in the G1 phase. And ATP जो एनर्जी है वो बहुत ज़्यादा यूज़ होती है इन द फॉर्मेशन और इन द रेप्लिकेशन ऑफ DNA, इसलिए ATP का भी सिंथेसिस जो है G1 फेज़ में होता है. इसीलिए हम G1 फेज़ को प्री DNA सिंथेसिस फेज़ भी बोलते हैं. Now S phase. So S phase is the synthesis phase of DNA. Now we all know that DNA is present inside the chromosome, and the property of DNA is to replicate itself, and after the replication they form their identical strand, and these strands are known as sister chromatids, and these sister chromatids are joined at a point which is known as the centromere. Now the histone proteins are also synthesized in the S phase. So किसी किताब में आपको मिलेगा कि हिस्टोन प्रोटीन G1 फेज में सिंथेसाइज होता है, और किसी किताब में यू विल फाइंड दैट हिस्टोन प्रोटीन इज सिंथेसाइज्ड इन S phase. Actually in lower eukaryotes the histone protein are synthesized in G1 phase, and in higher eukaryotes the histone proteins are synthesized in S phase, and the function of histone protein is कि it is not possible to pack DNA inside the cell because DNA is very long. So DNA wrapped itself around the histone protein ताकि वो easily cell के अंदर pack हो सके. Now in G2 phase, the synthesis of RNAs and proteins continues and their synthesis increases too. Why their synthesis increases? और ये वही RNA और proteins हैं जो कि G1 phase में बनते थे. अब इस phase में आकर भी वो बन रहे हैं और उनकी synthesis increase हो रही है. Why? Because for the cell division, when cell enters into the mitotic phase or the dividing phase, उसको कुछ ऐसे प्रोटीन्स की भी ज़रूरत होती है ताकि वो प्रॉपरली डिवाइड हो सके. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आफ्टर द डिविजन व्हेन सेल फॉर्म्स इट्स टू डॉटर सेल, तो उनके स्ट्रक्चरल सपोर्ट के लिए एंड द सेल मूवमेंट सम microtubules along with the microfilament is required, and these microtubules formed from the tubulin, and this tubulin protein is formed in the G2 phase. Now in G2 phase, ATP synthesis is increases. Why? Because for the process of cell division, a lots of energy is required, and also for the separation of one pair of chromosome or single chromosome, around 30 ATP is required. Okay, so that's why ATP synthesis increases in G2 phase. Now mitotic phase. So mitotic phase is followed by the interphase, and you see यहाँ से from the start of the G1 phase till the end of the G2 phase, this whole is interphase, and after the interphase you'll see the mitotic phase, and in the mitotic phase the nucleus gets divided, the chromosome gets separated, and the cytoplasm gets divided, and this results in the formation of two new daughter cell. And this mitotic phase included 4 phases: prophase, which is followed by the metaphase, then anaphase, and then telophase.